Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
Well, hello there, pop pickers, and welcome to another episode of There's Still Time, the AFTN podcast. I'm your host, Michael McCall. This is episode 80, and it's time to take a look at the happenings in Whitecapsland this week. That was the week that was.
We've nothing left to wait for but total snow.
It's actually been a very busy week for the Whitecaps, and not all of it good, I have to say. So let's start things off with Monday. Monday was a day that a lot of people were hoping the Whitecaps were going to add the vital key missing piece for the playoff push, and that would be a striker. It didn't happen, but apparently it wasn't for the lack of trying, as we'll hear a little bit later on. But there were two new additions to the team, one for now and one for later, because the Whitecaps added Kianz Froese and Marco Bustos to two homegrown contracts. Regular listeners to the podcast will know we asked Carl Robinson about that a few weeks ago, and he revealed to us, we could almost say exclusively, I think, that he was hoping to add them by the roster freeze. So he added Kianz Froese. Marco Bustos is on a pre-contract. The official reason for that being that Carl Robinson felt that Kianz Froese was just a little bit more ready for MLS just now. I personally think it was a chance that they could maybe offer Marco a better contract in January if he waited. But by having that pre-contract now, he knows he has the contract. The Whitecaps can keep hold of him, and he's not going to go and play abroad somewhere. So it's two good additions. They definitely will help the Whitecaps down the line. And I spoke to Kianz Froese and Marco Bustos along with some other media on Tuesday at training, and just wanted to know how they felt now that they had their first pro contracts and just what they're expecting for the future. And we also got the thoughts of Carl Robinson on the pair as well. So here's Marco Bustos, Kianz Froese and Carl Robinson talking about the young guns. So, Marco, how are you feeling today? Signed your first pro, about to sign your officially first pro contract in January, but knowing that you've got that pre-contract now.
It's a good feeling because I have pretty much put weight off my shoulders for how hard I've worked for the past 10, 12 months. And to know that I basically got myself in the team for next season is a good step for me, because then that just pushes me to fight for a spot in the squad, and that's realistically the end of the day. I want to be in the 18-man squad, and sooner rather than later hopefully be in the 11-man squad.
Now, you had a phenomenal weekend with the I was at both the games, and it's like 5 goals.
Yeah.
Have you scored a better goal than that second one against San Juan, beating 6 guys?
I think I can't remember all the goals I've scored, but I think that's one of the best ones I've probably scored for the Whitecaps residency. Going through those many guys and finishing was pretty cool.
And you're the captain this season in the 18s.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and what does that mean to you, actually captaining the team now?
Yeah, I mean, the two residency coaches, Steve Meadley and And now Thompson had pulled me aside at the end of the season last year and asked me if I would take the honor of being the skipper. And they talked to me about it a little bit on trying to build my leadership to make myself a better pro. And I wanted to take the challenge and just to have that extra leadership skill in me and to lead by example and lead vocally I think it would make me a better player. So I wanted to take that opportunity to make myself better.
And you certainly did lead at the weekend. Were you disappointed when that shot hit the post to stop you getting the 2 hat-tricks?
I mean, it would have been nice to get the 2 hat-tricks, but at the end of the day, we won the game, so that's all that matters to me.
The Amway Canadian Championship experience that you had earlier this year, I mean, what has that left you in terms of your thought for your first team aspirations?
Yeah,
the experience of that.
The experience leaves me with the thought of I could be here and I could play with the squad, and it makes me believe that I could get into the 11-man squad, and it shows me that the coaches believe in me, and whenever the coaches give me the chance to get out on the field again, then I hopefully take that chance and give them everything I show.
So, Kianz, you've signed your first pro contract now. How do you feel today?
Yesterday was an amazing day, really. It's surreal to say the least. Now it's a dream come true, and the work starts now.
So you're eligible to play the games for the remainder of the season. Are you hoping that you can get some minutes in your first season now?
I hope so. I mean, obviously that's earned on the field, so right now I'm just focusing on staying consistent, and then hopefully I get a chance.
And you've trained a lot with the first team this year. Knowing the players so well, does that make it easier coming into the squad because you've been training with them so much?
Yeah, all the older guys are very welcoming. Like they just treat us normal, and so it's easier to be a part of it. So, yeah.
How valuable was the experience playing against Toronto in the Canadian Championship earlier this year?
Yeah, when I saw Bradley playing in the World Cup, I was like, yeah, I played against him. So obviously it just shows that, we can do it and we can hopefully play. So it just gives us confidence to go do it when chance comes.
So what would it mean to you to get a chance here now to play in one of these 6 games that count towards a playoff spot? That
would be unreal. So that's my goal for right now. Hopefully get to go on a trip with the team and just be a part of the team and help in any way I can. So that's
how close do you feel you are to being able to do that?
I'm not sure. I think that's coaching staff can answer that.
They're fantastic signings for the club. I'm absolutely delighted to get those 2 on board, especially now with a couple of months to go before the end of the season, because it's important. It's important for them that they get to grips with what it's like to be a MLS professional, get them used to the environment, ready for January when they come, because it's the progression that I want as a manager of this club as well as the club want. I think it's important for the growth of this club that we see players coming through regularly, not just 1 year every 3 or 4 years, but every year, and they're added to our already talented young pool of players that we've got, so delighted to have them both on board.
But barring a scenario which you don't want to think about, which is you're eliminated from playoff contention,
yeah.
Could Kianz see some minutes?
Well, including in the games that we have left, and I said to the guys, I think we've got a six game mini season now. With Portland, you look at it, and whatever's happened up to this point is irrelevant because it's all about the 6 games now. So whether we're still in the playoff hunt or not, and hopefully we are right until the last day, and we manage to reach our goal, Kianz is very much in contention. We don't need to be eliminated or out of it for him to get the opportunity. I think you see today in training what he brings. We know there's areas of his game that needs a little bit more focus, and I've just spoke to him now at length about what we're going to do in the off season, but he's very much in the picture between now and the end of the season, and rightly so, because his performances and his training have fully deserved that. So don't be surprised if you don't see him soon.
And Marco's on a pre-contract. Is that just the way that things have to work for MLS to give him the kind of deal that you want to give him?
Yeah, obviously, as you know, with the expansion draft coming up, it's a tricky time for all MLS clubs, and with the protection rule of only 10 players, maybe bumping 2 of them up at a certain time will, give the possibility of me maybe losing 1 or 2 players, and I don't really want to do that at this time because, I'm building here, and, I can get one of them on the roster, which is why I think Kianz is probably slightly more ready than Marco, even though Marco scored 5 goals on the weekend and beat 6 men to score his goal of the season contender.
So the signing of Froese and Bustos was the good news piece on Monday. No striker, that was a bad news piece, and then more was to come later on when New Westminster Council had their meeting to decide the fate of the USL Pro team in the city, and it was a resounding no. The council unanimously decided not to go ahead with the Whitecaps' plans to refurbish Queen's Park Stadium. A little bit disappointing, to say the least. But what it has done is create a lot more interest in the Lower Mainland to have some other city host the USL Pro team there next year. Going to be a lot of work to do, a lot of bidding to do. Surrey seems to be kind of the front runners just now, possibly in the Cloverdale area, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Now, Bobby Lenarduzzi addressed media at training on Tuesday, and he discussed the whole USL Pro issue, also the lack of adding a striker on Monday, and just the general state of the club just now with 6 games to go and in the middle of a playoff push. So we're going to play this pretty much in full because I think Bobby covered a lot of things which fans are going to be interested in. I don't think this has had a lot of airplay anywhere else, so we just wanted to kind of include it pretty much in full. So here's Bobby Lenarduzzi talking about a number of key issues on Tuesday.
One door closes, another one opens, Bobby.
Well, the one thing about the USL process and going through this exercise with New Westminster is that it's generated a lot of profile. And once the decision was announced, we had calls from communities that we hadn't been speaking to prior to the MOU that we had signed with New Westminster, and obviously the areas that we were talking to will re-engage with them.
So in terms of the timeline now, the one challenge that puts you under the gun a little bit with kickoff would be in, 7 months or so?
It does, but we had a little bit of wiggle room in there. I think in any situation where you're not sure what the answer is going to be, you need to provide yourself with some time. And the one thing that because of the relationship we've had with USL and Tim Holt in particular, they would love to have Vancouver in USL Pro, and Seattle and Portland are looking to potentially do the same thing. So I think USL realizes this could be a real win for them. So they're prepared to work with us. There is going to be a crunch time, but as of right now, we've spoken to USL and they've indicated that they'll give us a bit of leeway.
They haven't given you a drop-dead date, though?
They haven't given us a drop-dead date at this point, but we know that we don't need to be told that there's a date that we have to have this concluded by. We know that in order to give ourselves the best chance of success for next year, that we ideally find a partner that in the Lower Mainland that's excited about the opportunities that USL brings to their community.
What are the most important things you guys are going to look at when you're trying to decide who to really target?
Well, I think each community offers up different opportunities. Some have existing venues. Others have indicated that they might be prepared to build a venue for USL Pro. So those are the discussions that we'll have. And what we don't want to do is make it a competition. Having said that, we'll meet with each of the municipalities and we'll get into specifics. And ideally, there'll be an interest in hosting us in their community.
Can you unequivocally say the Whitecaps will have a team in USL Pro in 2015?
Well, there's always a danger to being unequivocal in an answer, and it's our desire and it's our focus to find a partner and to have a team in USL next season. And I don't think you can ever be definitive when we're in the situation that we're in, where we don't have a confirmed partner right now in terms of where we're going to play. But it's our intent, and we as a club are so focused on providing the opportunities, for example, like Kianz and Froese and Marco Bustos, who signed yesterday the MLS contract. They're going to need playing time, and we don't want to waste another year of if they're not in the MLS starting rotation, that they waste a year of their development. And there's a number of other players in that category as well. So we're committed to and focused on getting it done for 2015.
And if you can't find a partner, would you consider any temporary solution for a year?
Yeah, we don't even want to go there, but that always is an alternative.
Did the decision surprise you, or were you expecting it?
Well, we had dialogue right up until the council meeting yesterday afternoon. And I wasn't involved in that dialogue, but the people that were from our end actually were feeling like there was a chance. So I guess from that perspective, yes, it was a surprise, and the fact that it was unanimous was also a surprise as well, and a disappointment.
What about yesterday and trade deadline day, Bobby? What was it like, and how close did you come in the end to landing a striker or another player?
Probably useful to provide some context and to say that since the opening of the international transfer window, we've been active, and it certainly hasn't been for a lack of trying. It's really come down to trying to be as certain as possible that the player we're signing is going to have an impact. So we've been searching since then, and then more recently with the international transfer window closed, obviously we were focused on players in MLS, and I can tell you that we had a wish list and virtually went through every roster in the MLS, but in the end, the opportunity to do a deal that would help us in the short term, it wasn't there, and it would have been something that more than likely would have been a wing and a prayer, and really I don't think we were feeling like we wanted to go through that, and as a result, that's why we stood pat.
Well, was this a vote of confidence for the people that you have here? The fact that you guys decided not to, trade away some of your younger players?
Well, I actually think that the players themselves, and in particular the young strikers, and the team in general, it doesn't come down to just one position when you're struggling to score goals. So what it will provide them now is it was an opportunity to, over the last 6 games, to show what they can do. And ideally, Eric's got himself back on the score sheet on the weekend and has played well over the last 2 games. And I'm assuming that it's likely that he'll get the start on the weekend, and hopefully he can catch fire. The one thing that we had been doing up until just very recently was we were creating a lot of chances, and we weren't converting, but we have to get back to creating, and ideally the law of averages says if we create enough, then someone's going to get hot and score some goals.
That didn't sound like a vote of confidence. You didn't really answer my question. In terms of the people that you have here, is it more of an audition for them then, to see what they can do?
It's always an audition. I think in professional sport, whenever you step out onto the pitch, you obviously want to give yourselves the best chance possible of starting the next game and of being around next season. So I don't know if there's a definitive answer on that, but it's going to provide an opportunity for our young players, and not just the strikers, because ideally what you don't want to do is add more pressure onto the pressure that's already there, and it's going to require us getting back to where we were. And the irony is it's as recent as 2 home games ago. We played Kansas City, pummeled them, should have won by more than the 2 that we got. Played Dallas the game before that, had 30 shots on goal. We need to get back to that, and if we get, and I actually feel like the last 2 games, San Jose and even in Dallas on the weekend, we could have easily come away from there with a point, and it didn't happen. But what we have done is actually provide the basis to give ourselves the best chance of success, and hopefully the goal scoring will come from other areas as well. I mean, we don't want to be just reliant on our strikers. It can come from the flanks. It can come from a guy like Waston, who every time he goes up for a set play, looks like there's a chance that he could get a goal.
From an organizational standpoint, an ownership standpoint, are you kind of rolling the dice with the faith of your supporters who've been so loyal to you on, hoping that this group gets you into the playoffs?
I've been pretty consistent from the time the season started, and when things were going well, one of the things that I made a point of saying was we are still a work in progress, and that work in progress is ongoing right now. I feel if you look at our squad, our roster from goalkeeper out, and with the performance of Ethan Sampson on the weekend and Christian Dean on the weekend, it further reinforces that we've got a good squad of players. And that was being repeated by people outside of our club at that time. But I think what happens is you don't score goals, you don't get the results, and all of a sudden it's what have you done for me lately? I think we have to be patient throughout this process, and obviously we haven't made a move, and we need to look at making the playoffs. If we don't, that doesn't mean that we have to go back to the drawing board. I think we've got a solid base to move forward from.
How long, though, can you sell the line of being patient and being patient with the youth to your supporters and to this market?
I don't think we sold it before today or before this season. I've never said that I'm excited about the future, and so I'm saying that because I firmly believe that is the case, and that we have a group of young players that will have had a season under their belt, and then in the off season we need to do the work to ensure that we get the other pieces to the puzzle that perhaps we're lacking right now.
Will that be heavy lifting in the off season, depending on how you guys finish down the stretch?
It's actually started now. Like, we're looking at players now for next season, and we prefer to fill those voids in the January window, as opposed to having to do it in a mid-season, and because we've all seen, not just with our club, but with virtually every club in MLS, when you make that mid-season signing, and especially if they're coming from abroad, there's a transition that's required. So, and it is interesting because up until the Portland game, I think we're suffering right now from a Portland hangover, because if you had asked people prior to the Portland game, in spite of the fact that we weren't winning a lot of games at that point, we were drawing more than we wanted to, our average attendance we were selling out. So you don't sell out if people don't feel like you're playing particularly well. Portland happened, and I think it was devastating to fans because it was such a big game, and we played poorly on that day, and as a result, I think everything that we've done after that there's been a disappointment that is still lingering from Portland. We have a chance to actually correct that this weekend, and hopefully we do.
So a lot from Bobby there. It certainly was disappointing not to have that striker added. And when you look around who the Whitecaps have trying to get them into the playoffs, it's really hard to see one of those guys catch fire, as we're going to hear about later in the show. Now, of course, the guy that everyone is now hoping is going to catch fire and go on a streak is Eric Hurtado. The last time Eric scored a goal was before the World Cup break. But when he got his first MLS goal in May, he then went on a 5-game scoring streak, including one in the Voyagers Cup. Now, obviously the same again would be really nice. Can he do it? Is he a guy that plays with confidence? Well, he's going down to Portland. He's an Oregon lad. He grew up in Beaverton. And he always seems to play better down there and has a bit of inspiration down there. So in case you haven't already gathered, this is another audio-heavy podcast episode. So we're going to play some audio now from Eric on Tuesday at training, where he was just asked about a number of different things, but in particular, is he the man that is now going to lead the Whitecaps attack for the rest of this season? So here's the thoughts of Eric Hurtado.
The last time you were finding the back of the net, you went 5 straight. Are you hoping to repeat that performance?
That'd be awesome, yeah. That'd be cool if that happened, but right now we got to focus on the playoffs and winning games, and if that's me scoring, other people scoring, and as long as we get the wins.
What do you make of the fact that the transfer window closed yesterday? The moves were made here. Give you faith that it's you guys who are going to carry the mail the rest of the way?
The coaching staff has high beliefs and high faith for us, so they've been telling us the whole season, and I don't think that they wanted to make any changes, and they didn't, and it just shows their confidence they have in us.
Are you looking forward to going back to Portland?
Yeah, I'm from Portland, obviously. It's get to go back there and see family, but obviously it's a business trip, so you got to go there, get the win, and it's always a great atmosphere to play in Portland.
How do you look at the final 6? I mean, I know we've said it for the last month and a half. It seems like every game is a massive game. I mean, Carl just said that, but how do you look at not only at Saturdays but the rest?
Yeah, we know what we got to do, and right now we got to focus on Portland, get past Portland, and then we can focus on the rest of the games. We know what we got to do.
Last game down in Portland, you had a fantastic game. You seem to do well down there. Is it just because you come from Beaverton, or because you were with Portland? Does that give you an extra boost?
Maybe it gives me an extra boost playing in front of my family and my hometown. But I go out there and give 100% every time. Sometimes people have good games, sometimes people have bad games, and I'm just gonna go out there and give my all.
And Carol had said it's needing one of you guys to probably go on a streak and start banging the goals in. He says you're in form 1-1. Do you think you can be the guy that can lead the attack for the rest of the season?
If I'm the guy, then I'm the guy. I'm just going to go out there and give them 100%, like I said. If it's not me, if it's someone else, credit to them because they're carrying the team, and we need someone to carry the team. If not multiple people carrying the team, we need team performances to win games, and that's what's going to need to happen.
Now in the Whitecaps' last 2 games against Dallas and San Jose, Eric Hurtado has actually looked not too bad, still struggling with a little bit of control. He did take his goal well down in Dallas, and he seems to be a player that plays with confidence, and when he has got that confidence, he starts to play well and he starts to bang the goals in. So we can only hope that that is going to continue. He certainly appears to be a better option just now than Darren Mattix, who just couldn't finish a toffee, is basically the way that it's looking. But dropping down to the bench might be the motivation that he needs to come back and then get some goals on Saturday against Portland. And another young guy that did well against Dallas on Saturday was Christian Dean, making his first MLS start. It's been a long wait for the first round Super Draft pick, and he's been patient, he's been frustrated. Some of you will have seen my article on Christian during the week on AFTN. I'm going to play the audio for that now, just because I know there's people that listen to this that don't read this site. So if you have read it and you don't want to hear this again, just fast forward for a little bit. But here's me talking to Christian just about a number of issues to do with his first MLS start, the frustration of not getting into the team when his former teammate Steve Birnbaum has done so at DC United, and just how he's found his rookie season in MLS. So here's Christian Dean. So Christian, you got to make your first MLS start at the weekend. How did that feel?
It felt great, been waiting for a while, and time finally came. I thought I took advantage of it, played really well. Thought, the team performed well, and overall I thought it was just a good opportunity.
Now, when you were with California, obviously you started all the games that you played there. How difficult has it been this year to kind of sit on the sidelines and watch what's been going on?
It's been a little difficult, Honestly, it's the first time really in my life that I actually never started a game. So this has been like a little difficult time, but it's a learning process, Even if I, mature here and, make it over to Europe one day, I'm probably not going to start there some games, so it have to be ready for that. So I think doing that here is, kind of matured me in a way that has made me ready for, what comes in the future. When you see what's like happened with your old teammate Steve at DC, does that frustrate you more, or does that actually spur you on then to get in the team and get the minutes? No, that's for me. Steve's one of my best friends in the world. So, he taught me really how to play center back. So, for me, it's just unbelievable to see what he's done. And he's come in and he's kept his spot. And, for me, I'm just trying to learn. And I still have a lot to learn. And it's something that'll come eventually. And I'm just happy for the guys who have gotten all the starts.
And you, talking of learning, you've been playing this year or training this year with Jay DeMerit and O'Brien, 2 veteran centre-backs. What do you feel you've learned since turning into the pro ranks with training with these guys?
I've learned a whole lot positionally wise, mentally a lot. Mental jump was huge coming here, especially watching them and watching them play. Even from like Johnny and Carlisle, who, both have international experience. I think, just mentally it's been a huge jump for me.
And Carol said after the game that the partnership you had with Kendall, it looked really good, really positive for the future. How did you find playing with them? 2 big guys, really big aerial presence in both boxes.
I thought it's unbelievable. The guy's a monster, but also he's solid on the ball, in possession as well, and defensively he's also very solid. I think I'm learning from him as well because he's big and athletic like I am, and watching him play these past couple games, learned things from him, and I think playing with him just showed me that I'm capable of playing with him, and it's also really fun. He's a great player.
Having played a bit of fullback as well as center back, have you given some thought to the idea that it'll be in your best interest to be offering a bit of versatility as a backline player?
I have fullback in my repertoire. It's what I played freshman and sophomore year, and high school. So it's something that I can do, but now I'm trying to transition to center back and learn the position as much as possible. If need be, I'll play left back. If they need me to play, I'll play wherever. If they want me to play goalie, but it's just something that I'd rather most likely play center back.
Anyway, enough to the past. Let's look ahead to what's coming up this weekend, which is a massive game against Portland Timbers down in Portland on Saturday afternoon. Now, the word massive is used a lot in football terms. Everything's massive. Massive game, massive three-pointer, massive six-pointer. But in this case, this is a massive game that could have major implications and a major impact on how the Western Conference playoff race is going to finish. As you'll all know, the Whitecaps are going into this game 1 point ahead of Portland. Very tight for that fifth and final playoff spot. I still think Colorado and San Jose are out of it. There's no way they're going to come back in it. For me, straight shootout between Vancouver and Portland. Now, the way the Whitecaps are looking at it, they are already in a full playoff mindset. Cal Robinson's talked about how it's now a 6-game mini-season and what went before it basically doesn't matter anymore. And he's right, because it's kind of like the pre-season to the post-season. This is the first part of the post-season. Everything's up for grabs. It's in the Whitecaps' hands still with 6 games to go. Portland and Vancouver both have 3 home games, 3 away games. They're playing pretty much the teams all around them. Portland have a really difficult run-in. The last 2 games, for example, are at home to Real Salt Lake and away to FC Dallas. And those are games which anything could happen. The way Portland are playing at home this year, they're letting in a lot of goals. They do seem to do well away from home, but can they get the job done? If the Whitecaps can get some wins on the board early, especially at Providence Park on Saturday afternoon, then it's really theirs to lose. So let's hear now from some Whitecaps talking about this 6-game stretch that's coming up. We're going to hear from head coach Cal Robinson, David Ousted, Andy O'Brien and Russell Tybert.
You approach this game like a playoff game?
I think so. I really do. I think we've got a 6-game mini-season now between us, Portland, Colorado, maybe San Jose as well. So we've got to try and take as many points as we can in these 6 games, and it starts Saturday.
Robo said on Tuesday that it's kind of for like a 6-game season now. Is that how you're looking at it? Do you feel every game's like a playoff game now?
It is. We need to tackle everything like a playoff game. It's getting into the last part of the season here, and we need to clinch as many wins as possible to push our way into the playoffs. So it's big games every single week now.
Approach this game like a playoff game?
Yeah, we're approaching every game very much so like it's a playoff game. It's a big game for us, and I would say irrelevant of the result, there's still a lot of work to be done, but it makes our objective a lot easier if we get the points.
And you said you guys kind of approach this game like a playoff game. You feel the same way?
Absolutely. The game down in Dallas felt like a playoff game, and all the games from here on out are going to feel like playoff games. And the way we approach this game, we approached last game, this is playoff soccer. It's what we live for and what we play for, and this is the most exciting time of the year besides playoffs itself. So, it's going down to Portland. I know everybody can't wait. I can't wait. I'm sure the fans can't wait. This whole organization must be excited. We're 1 point ahead, and we're going down to Portland to win.
So Saturday's game is going to be one that's going to be full of passion, full of fire, and if it's anything like the last game down at Portland, hopefully some very upset timbers at the end of it. So we'll hear a little bit now from Carl Robinson. He's going to talk not just about the Portland game, but just things in general. We're going to play 2 bits of audio. One from Tuesday to start with, and then we're going to follow that up with him talking to the media on Thursday as well. So he's talking about a variety of things, getting the team back on track, where the goals are going to come from, strikers catching fire, going on streaks, having to settle for the squad that he's got for the season running and hopefully in the playoffs, and a number of other little things as well. So we'll kick it off with Carl Robinson on Tuesday, and here he is.
Yesterday there was no movement made. These are the guys you've gone with all season long. You'll continue to go with. Was it a statement that was made by yourself and management to not make any moves? And what statement needs to be made by those guys?
Listen, I've said to you all along, I've got 100% faith in the group that I've got, and it's the group that I'm willing to work with and the group that I am working with. So, young players get opportunities and they will continue to get opportunities. That being said, there was a lot of phone calls over the last 2 days. There really was a lot of contact. There was a lot of names mentioned. But we had to weigh up what was right for us as a club at this present time, as well as what's right for us as a club in the future. And there were things that were possible. There were things that I thought that could happen that didn't happen, and there were things that, maybe were in my dreams that I wish that could happen that were nowhere near ever happening. So it was a decision based upon myself, the club, and the right dynamic of it as well. We're at a stage now, and I think you see there's not much movement generally yesterday. Teams, have got to make their plans for next year. And they're doing it conservatively because we could make a rash decision which wouldn't be which might benefit the club in the short term, but in the long term then it might affect it. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to put the club at risk in the long term because, like I said, I need to find out about these young players and make decisions on them, which will be made in January. And no better place than the next 6 games of the season.
Yeah, that was my next question. When you look at the fact that you've gone with them and you'll continue to go with them the rest of the way, I think when the season is done, regardless if you get in or not, you'll have those answers and you won't have any more questions in regards to the team.
Yeah, I think I've got them answers now. Unless something changes between now and the end of the season, then that might change my mind. But I've got a pretty good idea, which is why I made the decision to include the next 2 youngsters on the ladder, because they're pushing. I want young players in this group, and it's important for the club that we continue to do that. So, but I can't guarantee that every youngster will be here at the end of the season. Decisions sometimes need to be made, but if it's for the best of the team, the squad and the club, decisions will be made. But, everyone's fighting for places in the squad next year as well. So it's an important 6 games individually and collectively.
Is the best hope for this team down the stretch, Carl, just one of these guys, Kakuta or Eric or Darren, getting hot? Do you look at it that way, or is that too simple?
It will help. No, it will help. Simple as it is. I think that's what's happened during the year. Darren's got hot at times and Eric's got hot at a certain time, and Kakuta was, pretty hot at the start of the season. So you're hoping that one will catch fire and drag someone else along. These are the young players I've got up front. So, we know Pedro scored a lot of goals, albeit a lot of penalties, I keep getting told. So, hopefully he can catch fire as well. And it's going to be a team effort. It's not going to be one individual getting 15, 20 goals. As I said, it wouldn't be at the start of the season. It would be guys getting 8 to 10 goals a season, and we've still got 6 games to go. So if a couple of them guys can get 2 or 3 goals between now and the end of the year, then they can reach their 8 to 10 goal target.
Eric being the leading candidate now. Since he's
Eric's, he has. He's on fire, isn't he, Eric? 1-1. Yeah, he's doing very well.
Well, how crazy is it the way that this could conceivably play out? I mean, when you look at who you're playing, obviously you get Portland, then the rest of your schedule.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at it. I get asked all the time, have I looked at other teams' schedules, and I have, but I haven't took too much notice on other teams' schedules because it's irrelevant. Because if we don't do our job, then we probably won't get to the playoffs. So we've got a massive game on the weekend, but every week I keep saying to you, every game is massive and it will continue to be massive. And if it's massive, it means that we're still in contention. And I want it to be in this situation come this time of the season. Have we dropped points? Yeah, we have. Have we slipped up certain times? Yeah. Have we gained victories that we shouldn't have? I disagree with that. I think we've, all the victories that we've got, we thoroughly deserved, and we probably deserved a few more, but we haven't got them. There's no point crying over spilt milk. The reality is, we went to Dallas on Saturday, and I thought we could have come away with something. We didn't. No excuses there. We didn't get a result, so we move on to the next game.
How much does that earlier 4-3 win help you going into this weekend?
Well, it's a game of cat and mouse, isn't it? It's we've gone there early in the season and we managed to beat them. Then they've come to our place and they managed to beat us. So it's going to be a pretty interesting game there. Fine moments turn games, and I think if you look at our home game, the 3-0 defeat was tough on us. It really was, and it wasn't nice to lose to a rival, especially in that way. But for the first 60, 70 odd minutes, they scored when we were down to 10 men. Pedro was off the field at the time, and we should be better at that, defending with a cross. We went 1-0 down, and we had 2 decent chances then prior to them getting the second goal. And when the second goal went in, I think the team dropped their head slightly, which happens. And the 3-0 obviously looked a very comprehensive victory, and it probably was in the last 15 minutes because we were chasing shadows a little bit. But the first 70 minutes, it was very close. And if we would have took the early chance, which we missed, who knows what might have been. But again, it's history. We go into the game on Saturday. It's a tough place to play. They'll be fired up for it, but make no doubt about it, my boys will be fired up as well.
And here's a little bit more from Carl Robinson from training on Thursday.
What did you learn from the game against Portland when they came into BC Place and won 3-0? How do you avoid that again?
Well, I hope we do. we've got to tidy up on a few things. I don't think there was that much in the game in relation to, they scored the second and third goal in the 75th and 78th minute, and up until that point we probably had better chances than them, but we didn't take them. In this game, you've got to take your chances. Unfortunately, on that day we didn't, so we've got to make sure we perform the same in relation to a lot of aspects of that game, but tidy up on a few things and take our chances.
And on the flip side, can you take kind of confidence from the fact that you guys went into their building in June and got 3 points?
Yeah, we can, and we will, but we know it's going to be a very difficult game. As I said before, they finished the Western Conference top last year. They got the same group of players, they got a good manager, and they're going to be a team that's right fired up, so we've got to make sure we meet that challenge head on, we match them, and we try and play our game when we can.
Carl, what do you make of the goals that they've conceded, though? It hasn't been their greatest year at Providence Park.
No, I think they've scored a lot of goals this year, and they've conceded a lot of goals. We haven't scored as many goals as I would like, but we've done well conceding them, really. I think our goal difference is 0 or something like that. So, with teams that play open, expansive football, they do tend to score a lot of goals and they tend to concede a lot of goals. So, there's areas that I think we can exploit. Having said that, they're a very good team. So, we've got to be tactically disciplined on the defensive side, but we've also got to understand what areas we can attack them on the attacking side.
I think some of Pedro's actions down there in the game down there help get your club into it, to help get the fans into it a bit more. Are you okay with that? I mean, it's a different environment down there, and if your guys play to the fans, is that okay?
Yeah, no, I don't. What were his actions? I know he celebrated twice, I think, when he scored 2 goals. But
yeah, I think even before coming on the field at the start of the game.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, when we walked out, he was having a bit of fun with them. Listen, they've got 20,000 that will boo Pedro Morales, so I'm sure that he'll pretend he can't hear him and have a bit of fun with them, and I think that's what it was. Obviously, he performed well on that day, and we've got to hope that if they do it again and he does it again, then I'll take it. I'll make the gestures to him if I can get Pedro Morales to perform that way.
You think your team gets up for games like that when the crowd is more into it and
I think we have.
Atmosphere?
I think we have in certain games, but we haven't in other games. Yeah. We take responsibility for that. I take responsibility for that. Not just this year, but since we've been in the league, I think 4 years. There's been big games which we haven't capitalised on. It's a big game for us on Saturday. It really is, and we've got to make sure that we take this opportunity. And we want to play in big games. I said to the guys there that they want to play in big games, because if they want to play at the next level, then they're going to certainly be playing big games. And this certainly is a big game on the weekend.
A win would obviously be huge. A loss could be devastating.
Yep.
And a draw keeps you. How do you, if you go up 1-0 in this one, have you thought about how you kind of look at it?
No. I'm just focused to go and get there. To get a very good performance is the main thing, but also then to try and take something out of the game. Obviously, I don't want to go there and try and settle for a point. I want to try and win the game. I think we can win the game. Sure, Caleb will be exactly the same. It's a home game for them against the team that they're chasing. So we'll come out all guns blazing, and they'll want to try and beat us and take 3 points off us. So we've got to deal with this one game individually to start with, and then we'll refocus again after the game. But the boys are full of confidence at the moment. We'll go in there with a smile on our face and try and play our football, and if we can do that, then we've got a very good chance of getting a positive result, whether it's a point or 3 points.
Got to ask you about Gersh, because we just haven't seen him.
I'm not sure, Mark, to be honest. He's a big loss for us. He's a big player, and he's still got the boot on, so I don't think you're going to see him for another 2 or 3 weeks. So it's unfortunate at this time, because it's a crucial time for us, but other players have stepped in and done well. But it's a concern. Because he could miss the last 8 or 10 games of the season, which he's missed 5 or 6 already. So it's not ideal, but every club and every manager has to deal with injuries, and we'll just have to deal with it.
So it is possible he could be done for the season.
I think he possibly could, but he could be back in 2 or 3 weeks. It just depends on what the specialist says when he comes out of the boot, and then it depends on his fitness wise, because he needs to get fitter.
See a lot of the top midfielders in the game in Vancouver and Portland. How exciting is that midfield matchup, and how important is that midfield matchup?
It's very important. I say all along, every game is won in that midfield area, and I'm glad that you're talking about their top midfield against our top midfield, because I really think that we have got a top midfield at this club now, and it's going to be vital. Whoever comes out on top will probably win the game. It's important my guys put their stamp on the game. We try and win the battle if we can. They're a very aggressive team, very attack-orientated team. They like to drift into little pockets, so we've got to deal with that defensively. But then we've got to put our stamp on the game. We've got some technically very good players in that area. If we can pass and move them and pull them out of positions, then we can get chances. And then, as I said at the start of the conversation, if we can take them chances, then we won't be far off.
So that's the thoughts of Carl Robinson on a variety of issues. Let's get some stuff from the players now. We're going to continue the raw audio. And we're going to kick things off with one of my favourite players at the Whitecaps right now, and I'm really glad that we made the trade to get him here. Mauro Rosales. He spoke to media on Tuesday about a number of different things, and one of the things you notice when you speak to Mauro is you speak to the young guys that play up front. You speak to them for 2 minutes, you're maybe asking them 5 or 6 questions in that time, get 4 to 6 word answers. Mauro likes to talk, he likes to expand, he likes to get his point across, very articulate, a joy to listen to. So we're just going to include a lot of that now, and you'll just get an idea and a feel for what Mauro brings to this team and what he's looking for from this team in these last 6 games. So here's Mauro Rosales.
So Mauro, how would you assess the importance of this game to the team's playoff chances?
It's huge chances to go there and get the points that we need. It's gonna be a battle till the end, I guess. Not just the game, just the last 6 games that we have to play. He's our rivalry today to get in the playoff for the Cascadia Cup. It's for the Northwest Derby all the time. As these 3 things is a lot of things going on over there and important for us. And for us, it should be the best motivation to go there and to take the 3 points, just to start winning streak again and playing against them should be, like I told you before, enough motivation to put everything, concentration, our strengths, be focused in what we want. This is the way.
Obviously, we know the importance of Portland, but with 6 games to go and no moves have been made for this team. How do you help those young guys along in this final stretch of the 6 games? Because, I mean, we've said it for the last month and a half. Every match has been crucial.
Yeah.
But how do you help those guys?
I guess
it could suffocate a young player, couldn't it? Pressure?
Yeah, but I think the best way to help them is let them know how important is this for them, how important is this for the club. This is a mental game, and if you are mentally prepared to face this last stretch of games that we have, everybody is working very hard, but if you are not ready or not prepared to face important games like we had ahead of us, we are playing against the top 4 teams, the top 5 teams in our conference in the last 6 games. Then if you are playing against them, it's because they are in the best positions, and then we need everything from us. We need over 100% to fight that games, and if we feel that it's not enough, the effort that we're putting, we have to just step up and just do what we have to do. And mentally prepared means that you have to run a lot, you have to work a lot, you have to help your teammates, you have to do everything is in your hands just to be successful. And our goal is to be in the playoff. Doesn't matter if it's the next game, the other game, or wherever, just waiting for the last one. But we have to be sure that we need the points. We need the points, and everything in our minds have to be just getting something from playing in the road or playing in home. We have to get points, and this is how the mentality have to be.
How about the mentality, the style of play that you have to play in the last 6 matches? I mean, obviously we know about ball possession, how this team does so well, attacking style, but how do you play the final 6 games? The style of play? It's
hard. It's just playoff mentality. It's a playoff mentality. We are playing against the guys. If we pass the round, we're gonna face against them, and then you have to have enough confidence to go at them and then know how good is your team, because we had a good team here, and we played the last 3 games doing very good jobs and many parts of the field, and it was disappointing that we didn't get the points against DC because we deserved it. We worked very hard against Dallas and we got nothing. It's just we are in the way that we wanted to be. Playing like this, we're gonna win more games than the games that we're gonna lose. But we are close to that performance that is going to give us the plus and being a strong team to beat.
When you played against Portland before, particularly when you were with Seattle, what stood out for you when you played the Timbers since coming into what was
I guess it's more about motivation, willingness to win, willingness to give to the fans the special feeling winning against a derby team, and it's not just 11 in the field. It's a city behind them, just supporting, and just the only thing you want is just give some happiness to them, and being thankful for what they do during the week, during the season. And these kind of games give a plus for them, and it should have a plus for us, just facing these games and stepping up into the field, just the willingness to win and get the result.
Because particularly when you were with Seattle, it was a particularly fierce derby, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. And as a player, it's the game that you want to be. It's the game you are waiting for. And the emotion, the passion that you see in that game is outside in the stands and in the game. It's like I told you before, it's mentally. You have to be prepared to face that games and enjoy it. It's not just being running. You just have to enjoy, play, and just try to get the result.
Like Boca River?
Yeah, something like that. I did play many of that derbies, and you know how important it is for the fans, and for me it's a plus. And really getting into these games is the best feeling that a soccer player can get.
As we've said several times now, Mauro Rosales just a great addition to the Whitecaps locker room. So let's move on to our final segment of audio from this week, and we're going to hear from some of the Whitecaps players in the build-up to Saturday's game in Portland. We're going to hear first of all from goalkeeper David Ousted. Then we're going to hear from centre-back Andy O'Brien, who will be back in the starting lineup after being rested against Dallas. Then we're going to hear from young Canadian midfielder Russell Tybert. And finally, from defensive midfield maestro and the guy that really holds the Whitecaps together right now, Matthias Laba.
David, it seems like every game at this point in the season is a big game. I guess this weekend's no exception, is it?
No, definitely not. Cascadia Cup rivalry game. Not only that, we're neck and neck in the standings, so it's going to be a big one.
You mentioned the standings there. How closely do you guys kind of watch the standings heading into this game?
No, I think people know where we are, but that said, it's more about us going in and doing a good performance, hopefully getting away with something, and we'll see the standings when we're done with the season where we are.
Going into the last Portland game, you said it was important for the guys to kind of play freely and not kind of let the pressure get to them. I assume you want the same approach this week?
We didn't do well last game of that, but no, definitely going there and being able to play, being able to get at them, I think is a big thing. We have a team that's good offensively, and we need to show that, even though we're going to a tough away opponent.
Use that as motivation, David, the last game.
I think we need to show, to use the Spanish guys, some cojones. We need to show that we can put on a fight, and then we won't get out-battled, out-tackled. And if we do that, I know we can outplay them. So hopefully we'll get that mentality in.
The fact you've gone down there and won this year, how much does that help you guys this weekend?
It helps a lot. I think we showed last time that if you want to go and play with them, if you want to go press them, then they're a team that you can beat, even at their ground. But we need to do all those things correctly, and if we do, I think we'll have a good chance of winning.
Dave, I wonder if there even is home field advantage for them, because it must be so much fun to play in that kind of environment, I'm thinking.
It is. It's great. They put on a great show down there. We've got our fans there as well, and like I say, it's a Cascadia Cup game, so it's just one of those games that you really want to play.
Can you take some confidence from the fact that you guys went into their building earlier this year and got 3 points?
Yeah, I think it was our first victory there, but obviously we're a new club and what have you, and hopefully that's the first of many.
What about the loss at home recently to them? Andy, do you guys use that as motivation?
Yeah, I think the motivation we use is that I don't think they were as good as they were. I think we made them look a little bit better than what they were, and I think that was the biggest disappointment on that particular day. But as I say, it's a clean slate, and we look forward to the game.
What do you need to do differently to kind of avoid that same result?
Well, you know, we've looked at videos, we've done our preparation, we continue to do that, but you know, we played against what we're going to be Portland, and you know, sometimes you have to make your own decisions because you know that's the game, and you know we plan accordingly, but in terms of effort, desire, work ethic, they should not be lacking in a game of this importance.
If Beidershaw can't go again, how excited are you to see Ethan Sampson in a derby game? I mean, he's sort of the type of player built for that.
Well, yeah, if you want to talk about history, I thought that you know, the game that he had against Portland in pre-season was outstanding, and I think that that's always been a seed that he's planted, and you know, I thought he did very well last week, and you know, I wouldn't say if needs be that you know, we've got faith in him, because I believe that what he brings day in, day out is going to stand him in good stead for the rest of his career, and you know, if he plays on Saturday,
strange that
we'll do too. Sorry.
It's strange that Portland has conceded so many goals at home this year, given how well they did last year. Is that a bit of a sort of something you might look at as an opportunity, perhaps?
Yeah, I think given the game and the magnitude of it, you know, in every game things can happen, and in each season it's very different. You know, they won the Western Conference last year, so you know, as it stands, they're chasing us, and you know, I wouldn't say trying to run away from them, but we're trying to sustain our position in the playoffs, and the game on Saturday is going to be important.
Russell, Pedro and Valeri kind of cancel each other out on paper, and Chara and Laber are similar. Do you look at the midfield matchups in that way at all? That like you and Will kind of you have to, you know, he's the guy you have to kind of beat out for you guys to be successful.
So they cancel each other out, huh? I wouldn't say they cancel each other out. I think, you know, both players, Madi, you know, Chara, Valeri and Pedro, both, you know, I mean, all four of them, they have tremendous quality, and they each bring something different to the table. And again, I wouldn't say they cancel each other out. They make the game real exciting, as with the other players on the team. I know a little bit about Will, and anytime I get to play against him, I'm real excited. We were roommates for the Gold Cup. I don't know if that was a year ago, and you know, I learned a little bit about Will, and great guy. But when we step on the pitch, it's going to be a battle.
Is it fair? Is it too simplistic, or fair enough to say you guys won the midfield battle down there and they won it up here, and that has a lot to do with the way the results went in those two games?
I know for me, you know, I'm going down there with the mentality that me, Matty, and the midfielders, we want to win that midfield battle, and it's a battle that, you know, we're not going down there to lose. We know that's a big part of the game, and whatever we can do for the team, we're going to do it.
Does the environment really spur you guys on down there? I mean, is there even a home field advantage, because it's so much fun for everybody to play in that kind of atmosphere?
You know what? I think we all going down there, we thrive off that atmosphere. Our fans are great for us here. We have one of the best fan bases in the league, and the support we get down there is tremendous as well. So I know we're all excited to give our fans something to cheer about.
How excited are you and the rest of the team for this upcoming game this weekend?
Yes, we have confidence in our team, so we need to win, and it's like a final for us.
Who's going to be the best Argentine on the field on Saturday night?
I think Mauro Rosales.
And man number 2?
Mauro Rosales scored on Saturday, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Does Diego Valeri?
Yes, I meet with him. He's a good person, so and I played in Argentina versus Lanús versus Valeri. Is very good player, but it's possible in the midfielder maybe contrarrest Valeri good.
Pretty noisy and unique environment down there. Do you like playing in that kind of environment when that game is with the crowd as into it as it is down there?
Yes, of course. It's big team Portland, but we have a lot of players with good technical, with good experience. So I think we can win in Portland.
So there you have it. Whitecaps are set for a big game this weekend. It's going to be live on national TV in America on NBCSN. So they've got a chance to kind of show the whole watching MLS public exactly what they can do. Will they do it? I think it's going to be tough. My gut feeling is to go for a 2-1 Portland win. But if they can find their form, if they can get Pedro Morales to wind up the Portland fans as much as they can, and I mean that's something that could play into him, because last time Pedro did great down there. He wound the fans up before he came on the pitch, he wound the fans up during the game and he scored his goals, and he had kind of taken the pressure a little bit off Eric Hurtado by doing that. When Eric Hurtado went down for the penalty, instead of the fans kind of berating him, Pedro took it upon himself to kind of say, hey, I'm the guy you want to boo, I can take this. They did that and he rose to the occasion. You've got Mauro Rosales as well, who is undoubtedly going to get some boos and stuff from the Portland fans because he played for Seattle. He's going to love that, he's just going to thrive in that. That's going to take the pressure off the young guys and let them play. It's going to be tough, but if they can get anything from this, a point, 3 points, then that's going to set them up so well for the remaining 5 games. And there's a tough one coming up next weekend with Real Salt Lake coming to town. They really need to get 3 points from their remaining 3 home games now. Get 9 on the board from that. Then anything they can pick up away from home is just going to be a massive bonus. By the looks of training this week, Stephen Beitashour, he's day to day. He hasn't trained. On Thursday he was just doing laps around the track and doing fitness work. Don't think we're going to see him. I think it's going to be Ethan Sampson again. But he had a fantastic game down there against Portland in the pre-season where he wasn't afraid to put himself about a bit. Still worried about his defensive play and whether he's going to pick up yellow and red cards in a battle like that, but we'll see what happens. So that's it for another episode of There's Still Time. Hopefully you're enjoying these ones where we just have me doing the links in between and some raw audio. Steve will be back soon, he's on holiday at the moment, so we'll get somewhere we've got a bit of banter, a bit of discussion going. I'm Michael McCall. You can find me online on Twitter at AFTN Canada. Read all my stuff, AFTN on Canadian Soccer News. You can get there by going aftn.ca, canadiansoccernews.com, and I'm the Whitecaps beat reporter for MLSsoccer.com. So until next time, safe trip to everyone making the trip down to Oregon. Remember there's road work around Olympia. They're going to be shutting some lanes, so try and avoid that or go at the good times if you can. Safe journey to all. We'll talk to you soon. So until then, thanks for listening. Take care. And mon the Caps.
When you're listening in some far-flung corner of the globe to the World Service of a Saturday afternoon, crackly reception, interference, cosy, marvellous. Somehow comforting, isn't it? You know, legendary names, fathers and sons on the terraces, cheesy peas at half-time, pint for dad, mum's at home making the tea. Oh, everything's all right with the world, isn't it? Saturday afternoon is football.